So my name is Mandy Hickman, and I'm the Manager of Community Programs and Partnerships with the Psychology Foundation of Canada. And we are an organization that's been around for over 45 years. Our focus is on nurturing resilience in children and youth. And we do this through the use of psychological science. So please visit our website for more information. We have a number of programs that really span developmental stages. We start with birth with our Make the Connection program, where we encourage a secure attachment between caregivers, parents, and their young children. We move on through the toddlerhood and into the school years with Kids Have Stress Too. These are programs that really focus on helping kids develop strategies to manage their stress and the kinds of tools that they will take throughout their lifetime. We have just recently adapted our in-person training programs for Kids Have Stress Too and for stress lessons into online training opportunities. So please visit our website so you can see some more information about that. And finally, I'll mention that we also have a program for adults called Stress Strategies. And this is where you can input a challenge that you might be facing, and it'll help to identify some ways to problem solve around it. So now I want to introduce you to our guest today, Dr. Harvey Skinner. Dr. Skinner is a professor of psychology and global health and was the founding dean of the Faculty of Health with York University in Toronto. He's a registered psychologist in Ontario and a certified trainer in motivational interviewing and capacitor practices. Dr. Skinner is an internationally recognized educator and scholar, and he has written a number of books and articles on what motivates individuals, organizations, and communities to change. He has a special interest in promoting global health and achieving health for all. And he has a regular practice of meditation and Qigong. And we are really happy that Dr. Skinner continues to join us around the board table with the Psychology Foundation of Canada and continues to be a great friend and support to the organization. So thank you so much for returning with us today, Dr. Skinner. Look forward to moving with you. So over to you.
Thank you. Greetings and welcome today. What's your stress level like today? I'm really interested in that, and where will you be 30 minutes from now as we go through some really amazing practices. And I can feel the collective energy with everyone out there joining me on this, and it energizes me for today. We're all encounter stress in everyday lives, and at times it can be overwhelming. And of course, right now with the COVID-19 pandemic, everyone, our whole world is just being shaken to the roots, to our core. So what we can do about this? What can we do about this to help our children, our youth, help ourselves, help our families, help our communities? So today I'm going to go through some very simple but powerful techniques that have evolved over many centuries, and a lot draws on the work of Capacitor, a wonderful NGO. And there is a reference to this manual, Capacitor for Kids, a multicultural wellness program for children, schools, and families. And it's a marvelous resource that I draw upon. Also, when you go on to the website, you can download the emergency kit, which gives more details to a number of the practices I'll be talking about today. A key lesson is that we have to focus two ways: healing ourselves, healing others. We can't be effective parents, we can't be effective teachers, we can't be effective family members, community members, unless we also spend the same or more time on ourselves, healing ourselves, helping ourselves, so that we are strong and resilient throughout our lives. The Buddha calls this a dual path. It's our inner healing, our inner journey that has to be balanced with the external world. So that's why today what we're learning will be very important for you personally, for your own practice, and it'll also give you a number of skills, things that you can then use. Today we want to focus on teenagers and young adults, but this is a relevant practice really for everyone. First, a safety note. The mind and body practices, as I've said, have evolved out of traditions going back almost 5,000 years. They have a good safety record if they're done as instructed, so follow my instructions. And one of the key is to go gentle with yourself. You should never do any of these practices keep under 80% of your maximum effort. You want to actually learn more. So go a bit gentle and make it fit with your own circumstances. Some of the techniques were standing, you could also do sitting or even lying in bed. The other is we're going to go through a couple of practices. One is switching and the other is various acupressure points. This may bring up some strong emotions. It may be linked to experiences, situations for you. So stay within your window of tolerance today and only bring to mind experiences that you're comfortable dealing with today in this context. Okay? So now let's begin. And we can begin just sitting in our chair. And we're going to start with a breath practice. So just sit and relax comfortably. Put your hands in your lap if you want. You can do close your gaze or even close your eyes. I'm going to close mine. So let's breathe in slowly to the count of 5 through our nose and out. In through our nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In. Really at your own pace that's comfortable. You don't have to reach 5. And out. In. And out. Just go at your own pace for a little bit. In. Expand your lungs. And out. In. And out. Let's do one more. In. And out. So now slowly come back. So congratulations. You've already lowered your heart rate, lowered your blood pressure. You've activated your parasympathetic system, telling your brain that everything's well, to be calm. And this is one of the most basic, one of the most powerful practices that you can do. And it's helpful if you can do this for 2, 3, up to 5 minutes, but even doing it briefly if you're in a situation where you just need to calm down, center, even taking 30 seconds, even taking 3 to 5 breath cycles be really important. I'm now going to show another approach. I'm going to stand up for this and switch to my other camera. This is one that, for those here yesterday, we taught it, and we called this the belly balloon with, we use for kids a belly balloon game, but for adults it's called deep abdominal breathing. So it is similar by holding just below our belly button, and we breathe in through our, expanding our abdomen up through the chest to our lungs. And do it deep and out. Breathe in. We normally only breathe in about 40% of our lung capacity, so we have way more capacity. Breathe in and out. As you're breathing in, extend your diaphragm, your belly, and pull in as we exhale in. Inhale, tummy goes out. Exhale, tummy comes in. So now we're going to, as we exhale, we're going to breathe out quickly in 3 steps. Breathe out and exhale quickly. Breathe in. Once more, breathe in. This is a powerful way to detoxify, just through the breath, just getting rid of energy and toxins. So that is another nice adaptation on the breathing exercise. So now we're going to do, just ask you before I go on, is to go into the standing meditation position. So you stand with your feet sort of comfortably under you, put your arms straight, stand straight, your head up, so you're just like a tree, and energy coming from the sky heavens through your body right down to the earth. This is a standing meditation. Just see how we're feeling now, right? So now we're going to do a talk we did yesterday, and I'm teaching this one again because this to me is one of the most fundamental Qigong moves, totally great for your body. It's called shaking. So we just start shake, 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 shake. And I find when I'm working with students before a class, to get them up and just to spend shaking for about 1 minute really gets their energy levels up. It helps to, if there's blockages of energy, it helps to break through that. And it's getting the chi, the life force, just flowing throughout our whole body. Shake, 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 shake. You can shake our hands in and out, our wrists and our hands. We spend so much time on computers and texting, working with the little gizmos. And this is something that, turn around the other way. Fingers, stretch, 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 shake, shake, shake. You should do this every 30 minutes. You're working on your computer app, stand up, and if you can just shake for 30 seconds. So now we'll slow it down. So let's put our hands in front and create a little chi ball of energy. And just feel the energy, feel the tingling. Feel how you've awakened your body. And we need to awaken our bodies, calm our emotions and our spirit. Then our mind is calm and we're better able to learn. This is a great way. I use it with my university students all the time at the start of class because they're so stressed. Okay. Right. So now we're going to move on to a technique called switching. And I'll have you sit in your chair. Move back so you can see. So the basis of traditional Chinese medicine, Eastern thinking is they're all about health, and the health of our body is when our energy is flowing freely. And illness occurs when energy gets blocked, particular organ, particular part of our body, we get aches or pain, we get diseases. So the key is all about with the chi should flow freely, and we have our internal chi, and we bring in chi from our external environment. Breathe in oxygen, and we breathe out CO2 to the trees, and they see photosynthesis, that they turn the carbon dioxide into nutrients for the tree, and also they give back oxygen for us. So this is how a very great symbiotic relationship that we as humans have with our environment. So we're not different. We are totally intertwined. So take your left foot here, cross it over your right, and put your hands out in front. You put your right hand over your left, and interlock your fingers. Okay. And now just bring it back and close. Well, I did that one wrong, right? It's left over right. Right over left. We interlock our fingers. Okay, then we bring it back. And that's right. So do it again. We hands out, right comes over left. We interlock our fingers. We bring it back into our chest. And if you have a problem doing this, then it's just as well if you want to take your left hand over your right, interlock your fingers and hold that over your chest, okay? So hands out in front, right hand over, interlock your fingers, bring it back together. And now we just close your eyes and do again the deep breathing. And for the next couple of minutes, just let yourself sink into deep inner space for yourself. And part of the value of switching is that energy should flow in through the left side of our body and then out through the right side. But often that gets blocked. So imagine a white light of energy flowing up through your left foot, up your left leg, your left side, your left arm, up to the top of your head. And then down the right side, down your right arm, down your right body, down your leg, to your foot, and then out. So we're breathing in this light of energy. Visualize it coming in on our left side, up through our body, to our head, and then out, going down the right side. In, breathe slowly, and out. And also take your tongue and just place it at the top of your palate, just behind your teeth. Just hold it there as you're breathing. It's some major acupressure points. It also helps for calming, activating the vagus nerve. So breathing in and out. As you're breathing, just feel how easier, feel the energy flowing in through the left, down the right side of your body, everything getting balanced internally, in and out. In and out. This can be very useful for calming if you're having trouble, or one of your teens is having trouble sleeping. This is a great way to calm at night. You can do it in bed lying down. If before an exam or test, the students are a bit anxious, they could do this sitting in the chair. Take a minute before the exam or test begins. I've used it a lot when I had to go to long meetings. At times it could get stressful and at times boring. This way in which I would just sit there and then quietly do this practice for 1 or 2 minutes. Really helped to ground and center myself, particularly in some difficult meetings. And sometimes we're involved in as parents or as educators. So now let's gently open our eyes. Hands, let them just relax on your shins for a moment. Put your fingers together. And just feel the energy flow, the balance from your fingers, your left to right. As you're feeling your total body being balanced, the energy, the flow throughout your body, top to bottom, left to right. Now we'll end with just taking your finger to the top of your head, just tap the top of your head to give that some energy. Feels really good, right? Just keep your head nice little tap, tap, tap. You can make noise one. Okay, that's switching. So we're now going to look at various acupressure points. And again, it follows on the same sort of theory of thinking that when we get aches or pains, a lot of times that's due to a blockage of energy. And you can take medications, generally to try to deal with that, but these very simple acupressure practices have also been shown over the years to be incredibly important. And it's the same sort of principle of actual acupuncture, where you're putting in needles, but we're not using needles, we're using our hands or fingers. So it's a much more gentle approach and a very safe approach. So we'll go through 3 or 4 different practices. I'm going to move up a little bit. So first we're going to begin with feeling heaviness and depression. This is a great one, again, that you can use with your students or use with your teenager and adults. Because we're all times, especially today with COVID-19, feeling the whole world's been just discombobulated, right? So we're times we're anxious, we're very down about it, worried about the future, what's going to happen in the next few weeks, let alone the next year. So this technique, and it's going to be working on 2 major acupressure points at the back of the neck. So we basically will cross our fingers and put our thumbs up, and we put our fingers kind of nesting on the back of the head, and our thumbs are going into each side of the major spine cords that come to the neck. Now let's sort of turn around and show you. So we're pressuring in on these 2 points just below the skull. And you should apply, say, it's a medium level of pressure, what for you feels right, not too soft, not too hard. And it's useful to close your eyes. And with adults or even young adults, you should probably hold this from 2 minutes up to 3 or 4, and you know when you're finished if it starts, the aching may goes away, or if you're feeling a throbbing, that's stop. With younger children, with kids, they tend to be much more sensitive, and they haven't accrued as much stresses in that in their bodies and that. So usually we find with children that maybe up to a minute that it can work really quite quickly with a child. But for youth and adults, generally we do 2 minutes. Okay. So that's one. It's very effective for basically dealing when you're heaviness, feeling down, and depressed. So it's a great way to see that happening with students in your class or happening with one of your teens. Another one is, I'm just going to replay for those who were here yesterday, is head hold. We basically place one hand over the forehead and the other hand over the base of the skull. So again, this is pressing into those 2 major acupressure points at the base of the skull. And along the forehead, there's very rich nerve connections and acupressure points of blood flow, because you know if you get an injury that it will bleed profusely. But this is powerful for dealing with anxiety and strong emotions. And we're experiencing that a lot now. And a lot of the time what's at the core of that is that our thinking brain, frontal cortex, is going on worry. And it's not aligned in sync with the older part of our brain, the reptilian brain, the limbic system. As we were evolving as humans, that's part of the brain that evolved, that controls our automatic functions as breathing, our heart rate, and controls our root emotions. When we get our fear, our fight or flight, it comes from the old brain. And the new brain, the cortex, is much more on the talking brain, the thinking end. Quite often, the thinking brain is not aligned with our emotional brain, with more the brain of our body. So this really helps to align and to quiet what we call the monkey brain, or brain is just chattering away. I know what's going on, really nervous. What am I going to do with the older brain? And this again will start to lower, activate the parasympathetic system, telling the old part of the brain, because your heart rate is going down and your blood pressure. It tells your new brain, your thinking brain, that all is well. All is well. So this is a great way to help calm and really get back in alignment of our thinking brain with our emotional brain, our body brain. And you can do this procedure as I talked yesterday. You can just, don't have to necessarily touch. You can be maybe an inch, half an inch off. It can still be effective. It's a bit less intense, and if someone's may want to start that way. Also for cultural sensitivity, some experiencing trauma, that they may not want to even touch themselves, or if you're doing this with someone else. So just recall that you can do this by holding your hands and feet off. Okay, so that's the head holds. The next one is right at the back of our shoulders here, the deltoid. And there's powerful nerves there and acupressure points. And they're ones that often get really stiff, particularly if we're working on a computer or working on our devices. And I see people just hunched over all the time with devices. So this can create a lot of stress, a lot of blockage of energy. So this is, again, very simple. Make sure your feet are on the floor and grounded. And just take your fingers, your cups, and just start gently and then start pressing a bit more firmly onto the shoulders. Again, close your eyes and breathe. This is also a very comforting pose. We're hugging ourselves. And for many of us, we don't do this too often, just how soothing it can be just to hug yourself. Say, hey, Harvey, it's okay. You're doing okay. And this pain is going to go away. You're going to be all right. Okay, time to gently close your eyes and relax, shake a little bit. Now, this next one is looking at this major pressure point, acupressure point, just below the nose. And it's one of the major acupoints of our body. Vagus nerve goes through there. And just by pressing with your finger, or you can use your knuckle. This is very powerful for dealing with headaches, someone's very anxious, high blood pressure. If you're on an airplane, when we finally get back to being able to fly, and someone beside you is getting really anxious of what is happening, a very simple thing that you can do to help that person, could be a family member, or just somebody you don't know, just take your finger or your knuckle and put it over your thumb and press and close your eyes. And breathe. Again, we're activating the vagus nerve, the parasympathetic system. It's calming our blood pressures, lowering our heart rate. It's telling our thinking brain that everything's fine. Everything's great, Harvey. Just relax. Okay, so again, you would hold that for 2, 3, or 4 minutes, or if you're dealing with a younger person, child, maybe only a minute. The final one is how we can address more body functions, and one can be just problem with constipation. And this one is just pressing between the index finger and the big finger, right in the part there. And you can use your knuckle and just press on that fairly firmly and hold that for 2, 3, or 4 minutes. And it's been found over time in different cultures that this has been a useful approach for dealing with bodily functions with constipation. Great. So we've gone through the finger holes. Now I want to do one final set of practices. And everyone should stand up and have lots of room so we can move. And this practice evolves out of Qigong, and it's a set of 8 exercises that have been put together. It's called Pal Dam Gum. It's been used for hundreds and hundreds of years, and it was found that this is an amazing way of giving your body a total tune-up. The different exercises we go through are really important for helping us deal with balance of energy, for energizing. You do with building strength, with flexibility, to do with getting the energy flowing freely from one side to the other. So it's a series of 8 exercises, and I've given a link on the handout for this. There's several websites where you can actually watch the practice and do the practice with someone else. So we'll do this one together. I'm going to take off. I have slippers, so sometimes it works better if you do it in your bare feet. Just don't want to be slippery, okay? And before that, let's just go to the standing meditation for a moment, and let's just do a checkup. We've gone through breathing, gone through switching, acupressure points. How are we feeling now compared to when we started 20 minutes ago? Just take a moment and just feel the energy level, your balance, your calmness. Okay, so Pal Dam Gum, this is one of I find this really works great with teenagers, with students, really with everyone, but they love the final part of it is the lion's roar. And when I go back into school and see students, they come up and ask me, Professor Skinner, can we do the lion's roar? So they just really get this routine, and it's just a lovely one to practice. You can do it in 7 minutes, so if you did this each day, it would be one of the best things you could do as an ongoing practice. So the first is I'll walk through slowly, and then we'll do it as a sequence. So the first movement, bring our hands down, hand up, breathe in. Interlock our fingers. And then we just gently go up on your toes and do that within your comfort level. And then we come back down and do this again. So let's do this once more slowly. We come up, breathe in, up on our toes, come down. One of your toes activates powerful pressure points, acupressure points at the bottom of your feet. So that's the first. The second one is bow and arrow. This is a great one. So just put your right foot forward and sort of mirror me. And this is if you're riding a horse. And you point out, let's put up the bow and we pull it back, and we grab our feet, we swing around once more, and we pull it back. Release energy, and we'll pull it back once more. We'll come back to the center. Then we'll put our left foot out, point up, bring it back, just pull the bow, release, pull the bow, and release, and come back to center. So that's the second one. The third one is take your right hand above you, and your left hand here. So basically touching heaven, touching earth. So we're touching the sky, touching the earth. And then we bring our hands up, make a little chi ball, and then we switch to the other side. We come down, a little chi ball of energy. And we're touching heaven, we're touching the earth, we're taking energy from both. Great. Next one is looking backwards. We just bring our hands in front and we swing back to your right and just stretch and look over your right shoulder. Come back together and stretch, look over your left shoulder. And come back together. The fifth one is we put our hands on your hip and we're just going to bend slowly to the right and do this in your comfort level. Swing all around, so we'll do this a couple times and then we'll come back the other direction, right to left. And then we'll very slowly, we'll just dangle over. Stretch, don't go more than 80% of your max. Then we'll come back up, put our hands to support our backs, and then we'll just lean back, staying within our comfort level. So this is great for stretching spine, total body stretch, flexibility. Now comes the real fun part at the end, and this is relax. So this first one is punching with your fists. So we put our fists out in front and we're going to punch and punch. And as we do this, we're going to say, ha, ha, okay? And then we're going to go to the right, we'll do ha, ha. And we'll come over to the left and do ha, ha. So it's a great exchange of energy. We'll repeat that 3 times, okay? So remember, it's ha, ha, and we do right and we do left. And then we end that with the lion's roar. So we just bend down our hands. Okay, can you do that? It's not loud enough. I was listening. I want to do this again in practice. I want to hear you. I want to feel my house vibrate. You ready? Let's come down. Up. Roar! And then we just hang over. Let our things dangle. A few minutes and then we come back. So that's held and done. So let me move it through now and we'll do it as the sequence. And again, this is just a marvelous sort of 8 silken practices. So let's begin with hands up, top of our head, up on our toes, and down, breathing up, top of our head, and down. Once more, up, top of our head, and down. So we do this. Now, our right foot out, let's make the bow. Let's pull on it, release it, swing it. Let's pull on the bow again, release it. One more time, release it. Back to center. Now we put our left foot out. Okay, let's pull on the bow, release it. Pull again, we're releasing energy out to the world, out to the sky. Come back to the center. Now we put our right hand up and our left hand. We touch the sky, we touch the earth, we're touching the heavens. And we come in with chi ball and we stretch our whole body along that whole side. Again, stretch. And one more, stretch. And we'll do one more here. Stretch. Come back. Come back to center. Now our hands center and we're going to look back to our right. This can be great for emotional release. It's often called emotional crying. So it's a great way if someone's been feeling very stressful or traumatized. And come back to the center. Now lean up to the left, to the right, to the left. Your left, my right. I'm mirroring you. And come back to the center. And once more to your right. Stretch back as far as you can with your neck, your arms. And come back to center. And once more. And we're back to center. And hands on our hips. Let's go down to the right. Rotate across. Do this 3 times. Now we'll reverse. It's going down in your comfort level. Stay under 80%. We'll come back. Now we'll just lean over, stretch, total spine, body stretching. We'll come up slowly and we'll put our hands to support. Back and far back, and we'll just lean back slowly. Take a big breath and open our chest, open our heart, open our lungs to the world, to the universe, to everyone. Okay, we'll come back together. So now, let's get our fists together in front. Are you ready? Go, go. Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! In front. Ha ha! To your right. Ha ha! To your left. Ha ha! In front. Ha ha! To your right. Ha ha! To your left. Ha ha! And you're in line for it. Roar! And just hold it over. Feeling gentle. I'll slowly come up. 1 vertebrae at a time. So now let's do standing meditation. How do you feel? Let's bring our hands over our belly, just below the belly button. This is the center of our energy, our elixir, called the Dantian in traditional Chinese medicine, or the Hara in Ayurvedic Indian traditions. And just let your body sway like a bamboo in the wind, and breathe slowly and just integrate what you've learned with how you're feeling, with your spirit level, with your energy level. You're feeling balanced, calm, alert. And you're ready now for the rest of the day. So if we want to come and sit down, and I'm going to switch the camera, and we have some time for question and answers.
Thank you, Dr. Skinner. I absolutely feel much more calm, and I'm looking forward to integrating these techniques into my daily routine. We do have a few questions that have come through. So Sandeep is asking, what is the best technique to help kids practice these techniques in their daily life so it becomes a regular activity?
You know, that's, I was hoping someone would ask that question. Because what's fundamental? Well, let me just tell a bit of a story. What if there's been a different focus today, and it's all about preventive, like say, dental hygiene, and I taught everybody today how to brush your teeth and how to do the floss, right? And we would have our teeth would be clean, we would be preventing, you know, caries and gum disease, and we'd have fresh breath. But if we never did it again, right, it's not going to be that effective. So we've kind of learned that you got to do it again and again and again. So it's repeating the practice. So that's the challenge. How do you integrate it into your daily life and with the parents of your children? Or as a teacher, how I integrate it into my teaching, I do these procedures at the start, at the end of my class, right? We do our Qigong thing, that's how we warm up, and then we close it similar to how I close the session today. So I just built that into the structure. And part of it is beginning with yourself. You know, if you're going to expect your kids to do some sort of routine, you got to be having what is your own personal practice, right? Because they're your powerful role model. So one is beginning with yourself. And we know that even if you do mindfulness or meditation, even 5 or 10 minutes, even taking 7 minutes to do some very simple Qigong, like the Pao Gun routine, that those, if you did it every day, are really powerful. And that's how I started. But then I got interest. I started doing it more and more and more. I started Qigong with Tija Bell's 12-minute video on Radiant Heart Qigong, and it was really amazing. And so did it, and then I've now gone on, now I could do an hour every day. So I think with your kids, how do you find a way in which you can build it into the structure of their day and build in some fun rewards? And sometimes, let's do this one together, because these are simple practices that you could do and have fun together, especially like we yesterday doing the helicopter spins and that, and that's, you know, let's do that. Let's activate our tummies. You know, we do the, this exercise here, it's a great thing to do, you know, before you're going to have a meal. And one of the key things is in your stomach, it's 90% of serotonin is produced in our gut. And that's fundamental for our digestion, but it's fundamental for how all of our neurons talk to each other. So, so you just look at simple ways to build it in and to have sort of rewards. So it becomes, build it into a habit. And if you can do it with someone else, just like getting into doing sports and that, it's a social sort of interaction again. So you have to trial and error. And my only other comment is, from my own experience, I get into a really nice routine, but about every 5 or 10 years, I have to totally reinvent because my circumstances change. I get a new job. I mean, other things happen. First of all, I had my first son, Mark. I'm not sleeping anymore. You know, so my whole life gets. So I have to, you know, I have to reinvent what I do. So you have to. So what am I going to put in place for the next few days, few weeks, years, and then no, I'm going to have to reinvent that. So it's a great question, and I think I've touched on 3 or 4 kind of key points of how to do that. But I'm really glad that I was asked that question because I challenged myself. What works for me now, incredibly, is with my wife, Susan, and we do these procedures together, and it's really a powerful thing. So I would say that as a family, because these are kind of, everyone in the family can do it, and you can have fun. You make it playful.
Okay. We've got a question about the vagus nerve. So you'd mentioned it a couple of times. So can you speak a little bit more to the vagus nerve?
Yeah, and it's a great one to Google and learn more about. There's actually 2 that run down through 2 sides of the body, and it's the longest nerve in the body, and it interconnects a whole bunch of our brain and body down to our digestive functions. And it mainly works on the parasympathetic side of our nervous system. So that's monitoring our heart rate, our respiration rate. And if you can stimulate, in a sense, you're certainly sort of calming the vagus nerve, that messages, that's telling the heart, you know, to slow down. It's different than if we're getting into the fight or flight. That's activating other parts of our nervous system, you know, the sympathetic system, and then it's stimulating adrenaline and cortisol, which if you're in a very fearful situation can be helpful for that. But what's happened over time is that we tend to get triggered and we're creating all this kind of chemicals in that become harmful to our body. So the vagus nerve, in some ways, it's the key to the whole relaxation, to the calming side. And it's a really kind of cool nerve that it really links through. And in traditional Chinese medicine, they talk about meridians, you know, and how these come through our body. Well, and anatomically, the vagus nerve is kind of that as a key meridian, and you don't want it to get blocked at energy level, blocking the flow of information up down that pipeline. But it's a great one to learn about.
Okay, great, thank you. Wondering whether or not these are practices that might trigger children who've experienced trauma or might not have self-regulation.
Yes, and that's why I think at the start I mentioned it's important to to create a safe space and understand the context, and in the manual, and I would really recommend for those of you who want, and I'm going to be revamping the handout and give a little more information on this, but this is available from the Capacitar website, and you purchase, I think it's $20, and it is really amazing because it's taking these practices and it's putting into ways in which you can deal with children and with youth. So it is a marvelous resource, and so I'd highly recommend that. There's, I think with the triggering, I just think if you're upfront, you need to, as a parent and that, you need to understand that what can be helpful can also, not be unhelpful. And if something powerful gets triggered, then we have a normal reaction to, let's not talk about escape from that. I mean, that's how I grew up. We weren't supposed to feel bad, have strong emotions. So I get to be a young adult, and I've got no words to describe all these strong emotions going on inside me. And I've taken another 50 years, figuring that out. So that's why the finger holds we talked about those yesterday is really important for children to learn to get emotional intelligence and to learn about basically grief, to learn about basically fear, to learn about anger, right? And if you're doing these, and the manual talks about, you may want to have your child what's your safe space, and you could draw it, you could color it, and it may be going into the forest. And I have my students in my course assignment say, what is called my meaningful space? Where do you go to when you need to be rejuvenated, to be energized? And I have them create a project around that and describe why that's so important. So I think if you be prepared that when, if it does generate really strong emotions, that you've had sort of some tools to work with, sort of like the safe space. And the other is just to stay with it, so instead of trying to cue avoidance, it's cue exposure. And we know that if we can stay with the strong emotion, and we have inside of us, we have a cradle it, the capacity to hold that, and our bodies will heal that, right? Mm. And it's like a wave. If you get this huge, strong wave kind of fear, but if you can, surf the wave over time, it will end. And then you'll become better than when the next wave comes. You'll become much better at surfing it. And so it's, when it activates something really strong in your child, just let's be with it, Mm-hmm. And don't talk about it. Let's just, if we just sort of lie together in bed, or just sort of have a hug, and let's just, and put your hand on your heart, or where on your body is it really hurting? Is it here, or is it your heart, or your stomach? So just put your hand, you don't need to put my hand there. So that's the way in which strategies of dealing with this, because and that's a great question, because this is important. It can, and at times will trigger that. So you need to be prepared. Prevention is always the best strategy.
Okay, it makes me think of resiliency, and what we do with the Psychology Foundation of Canada is all about trying to build that resiliency.
Yeah, well, I should give a plug. I mean, on the foundation, the training and resource tools you have, the Stress Ed Kids and all that. So there's great resources that can also help answer that question. Mm-hmm. There's lots of tools out there that can help. But just be prepared, and then work with it. Don't, basically, it's going to, be with it, and surf with it, and let me ride it with you together. If it's with a child or an adult or even your partner, right? Let's just sit together. Let's sit with it. Okay.
Great. And we have had a few questions just as far as the handouts and the resources. So I just wanted to remind everyone that the recordings will be available on our website and the handouts will be as well. And Dr. Skinner, you had mentioned that you're going to be updating a few of the handouts. We've also had a question just as far as the book that you've just shared, if that would be included perhaps in a resource handout as well. That would be helpful. So I think,
yeah, I'll do the, I'm going to update both the handouts. So, and you'll see it's on the Capacitor website. You can purchase these. This is sort of the basic manual. This is the one, the adaptation for kids, the one that I was really drawing on today. This is really excellent, and yeah, that's available. Also on the website, you can download their free called emergency toolkit that describes all the various procedures, and there's and I've also shown we can go over various videos seeing Dr. Patricia Kane, who's sort of the founder of Capacitor, demonstrating approaches, including pal dam guns. So I'm going to revamp the handout so that all the resources are there, and you can feel free to use that handout. And I'm also going to include just a short 3 pages on what's the evidence behind this, and basically what you need to know, and what are good sources if you want to get into the research. And a huge amount of research now, helping us understand why these practices, but also going through the caution. So that'll be included in this updated handout, and encourage everyone to, to download that.
great, thank you. And so everyone will be receiving those recordings, and you'll also be receiving a survey. We want to hear from you. Is there something that you want to learn more about? Are you interested in a follow-up session with Dr. Skinner, as he had offered yesterday? What other kinds of topics would you like to see? So please, that's your opportunity to give us some feedback. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank Dr. Skinner for moving us through these last 2 days. I've really appreciated it. And I know just seeing from our comments and emails from yesterday, the community's really appreciated it. So thank you.
It's been a privilege for me, and I can just feel the energy, and I feel everyone's so calm now, and just keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to everybody for joining us today. I did also want to just mention that we are a charity, and for us to continue to do this work, we really rely on donations from people like you. So if it is within your means, please consider making a donation today. And we will be continuing with our webinars, so stay tuned, check out our website for more information, and stay well. Thank you.